Make sure you push record. Oh, good job. You did.
Got it. Okay. Like I said, my name is Chantel, and I have been coaching. Breezy's my coach, and I've been coaching since January of 2015, so a little over a year. And I'm just super excited. I love it when I get the chance to talk to you guys. Makes me nervous, but I'm happy to be here. We are doing a co-hosting call tonight. One of my rock star coaches, Nicole, is here, and she's going to be talking a little bit tonight about following a program and being proof of the product. So I'll just turn the time over to her and let her introduce herself, and then I'll finish up. So Nicole.
Okay, I am really nervous to talk to you. I don't know why. You guys are all just not scary, but I am. But I'm also excited for the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and talk to you. So I'll just introduce myself real quick. I'm Nicole Ludwig, and I'm a wife of. We've been married 10 years, like next week actually. And I have 3 kids. I have 7-year-old, 3-year-old, and 1-year-old. And my husband's a firefighter, paramedic, and he's also has his own finished carpentry business and builds homes. So he's super, super busy. So anyways, I am going to start out telling you my story a little bit, which also is going to relate to my the topic too. So after I had my third kid, which was, he's 16 months now. I just was like 3 kids just really like hit me hard. Like I was like, holy cow, I can't do this. And I was like dealing with some postpartum depression, which I'd never had with my other 2, but it was in winter, and my husband was working full-time in a fire department. He was working part-time in another fire department. And they work like 4 to 8-hour shifts and then 24-hour shifts. So he'd go like 72 hours straight. And then he still had his carpentry business, and he was building our home. So anyways, I was like a single mom trying to deal with having a new baby, and I just was like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like I don't even care about anything. And I actually had a pretty like fit pregnancy. I worked out the whole time, felt really good. I was 3 months before I got pregnant, I found out that I was like shouldn't be eating gluten. So I kind of was like transitioning, trying to take that out, and I did pretty good. But once I had my baby, I was just like, I don't even care about life. I was eating donuts. I was eating pizza, like everything that I shouldn't have been. And I gained 10 pounds. Like, you know, when you come home from the hospital, you're supposed to like start losing it. But I was gaining it, and I was like, what the heck? So that didn't help with me feeling crappy about myself. I've always loved Beachbody programs. I did Insanity, like did like 2 rounds of that, the full Insanity. I did Turbo Jam, I did P90X, and what was the other, like Hip Hop Abs. So anyways, I love those, and I just was feeling like I need to get back into something because I know that exercise makes me feel so much better. But you know how hard it is to start something, especially when you know it's going to be hard. So I was following Chantel, my coach, and she was a newer coach, but I didn't really know that. And she did a post of Insanity Max 30, and it kind of like sparked my interest because I loved Insanity in the past, but I was like, there's no way I can do an hour workout with what I'm dealing with right now. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should message her, but I didn't until like she posted it, maybe her last call post. And there was a deal. And so I was like, oh, I'm a sucker for deals. And so I messaged her. I think I commented or something, and she messaged me back. And I was like, oh, like, tell me about Insanity in Max 30. And, you know, she kind of told me. And then I found out the deal was when you bought Shakeology. And I was like, oh, I don't want Shakeology. I just want the program, the workout. And she was so nice, and she was like, okay, that's cool, you know. But she actually still invited me to be in her challenge group. And, you know, I'm super grateful that she did that. Sorry. I don't know, I'm crying. But I'm super grateful that she did that, because she totally could have just said, you know, I only let my people who do Shakeology in my group. But I think that she knew that I was struggling and needed something. Oh gosh. So anyways, so she let me in her group, and I didn't even know what a challenge group was, but I was like, sure, that sounds great. And I got in, and I loved it. I loved the accountability. I loved, you know, just that she was checking in with me. And like, I started with Insanity Max 30, which is like one of the hardest ones, like right after a baby, being out of shape. Like now I'm like, whoa, what was I doing starting with that one? But anyways, I did it, and I was just like found myself again. I was like, oh, like I'm happy again. Like this is who I am. And so anyways, at the end of the group, she was like, you know, you can be in my group, but you know, you'll need to be on Shakeology. And so I was like, oh, I don't know. That's just so expensive. Like I've looked into that before, and I just don't know. Then she told me, you know, you can sign up as a coach and you can get the discount. And like I said before, I was like a sucker for the discount. And she actually sent me like a webinar, coaching webinar that I watched or listened when I was in the car. And I think Breezy and so maybe some of the other coaches in this group were in there. And I was like, wow, this is really amazing, like this whole coaching thing. And so it kind of got me thinking, and I messaged her and was like, okay, I think I want to start, I think I'll try it out, you know. I was like, what do I have to lose? So, you know, I just wanted to help other moms, because I knew how I felt, and there's probably other people out there, and not even just moms, but other women that I could relate to who probably needed that same thing. So that kind of brings me to being proof of the product. You know, and what does that mean? So proof of the product is one of the 4 vitals, and it is for a reason, because, you know, we're coaches, and if we're not showing and sharing what these products are doing for us, then people aren't going to know what it is. So, you know, you can't tell someone, hey, you should come buy this, or this is awesome, and you're not doing it, or you're not using it, then they're going to be like, well, you're not using it, so it must not be that great. So for me, once I became a coach, I started sharing my my journey. So I started sharing my results from Insanity Max 30. I shared my before and after, which was like so scary. I thought I was gonna like die. But people were intrigued by that, and that I would share that, and that I was sharing that it was hard, that it wasn't easy, that I was dealing with a brand new baby, like a newborn, and having sleepless nights, that I was sharing like, hey, I'm still getting up, I'm still doing this, and then sharing not even just transformation, but sharing like the small victories that I was having. You know, like when I first started day 1, I could do 0 push-ups, and then by the end, Like, hey, I can do this many push-ups, where when I first started, I could do 0. And that was really cool to me. Almost probably more cool than like what I saw on the scale. And we all know as coaches, our challengers have such a hard time with the whole scale thing. So we need to be sharing that with other people too, like all those non-scale victories, like I said, like I couldn't do this before and now I can, or I can fit into these jeans whereas I couldn't before. So we have to be sharing those things and how they're helping us. So one thing that I've really done that has helped me and helped my to gain a following is I love to post about recipes and tips. I love to like find healthy recipes or find recipes and try to healthify them and share that with other people. And if that's not your thing, then obviously don't be posting about that. If you hate to be in the kitchen and you hate to cook, then that's something that you're not going to be doing that as much. But maybe you could find something that, like if, for example, if you hate to cook and you found, all I did was dump this, and this, and made this healthy dinner, like that's going to be intriguing to people who are going to relate to you. So just sharing what's helping you on your healthy journey, it's going to help other people. Like I said earlier, like how I followed insanity. So I went straight from insanity to 21 Day Fix Extreme, and then did that, and then shared my transformation too, and throughout shared the workouts. So I was sharing videos. People love videos. They love to see you and love to see like, oh wow, like that's something that I could actually do. That's not too hard. Or maybe they saw insanity and were like, okay, no way, I'm not doing that. But just trying to get people to see what you're doing and that you're showing up every day. And following a program is so important because, so many people buy programs and they'll do them for a week and then they'll put them on their shelves. So by you showing that, hey, I started this and I finished it, like that's pretty, people think that's really amazing because that's hard to do for a lot of people. And so you sharing that and saying, this has helped me, these challenge groups help me, just sharing about that is going to be intriguing to other people. And your transformation doesn't have to be huge. Like, it doesn't mean you have to have this rocking body to be able to share your transformation. Like I said before, it can be small things like fitting into jeans, but just sharing about what you're doing. So one thing that I have really tried to focus on is Shakeology, because that's such a big part of our business. And I remember being a new coach, and that was so hard for me to try to sell a challenge pack. I could like sell the programs pretty easy, like the workouts. But as soon as I mentioned Shakeology, it was like, oh, crickets, like they're not there anymore. And I was like, what the heck? Why don't people do this? And so I just realized, okay, I got to learn as much as I can about Shakeology. And then I have to share that with everyone. So I really try to take objections that I get from people, like talking to people, and do posts about them. So whether it's like price objections, I was the same way. I told Chantel I didn't want Shakeology. So, I know that people, the price is scary to people, and totally people are like, no thanks. But it's our job as coaches to educate people that it's not just a protein drink. Like, no, you can't just go to Good Earth and pay $30 to get this. Like, people just don't understand. They see us with our pictures of our shakes and think, oh yeah, I have my protein shake too. That's awesome. So we need to be educating them in our posts. It doesn't have to be like a huge long post, but just saying how it's helped you. So like for me, I've struggled with IBS like for a long, long time. And so Shakeology has helped me a ton. So, being able to share that in my posts, saying my digestive issues are finally normal. I finally feel good. My hair feels good. Like I finally have healthy hair. My nails are long and my skin feels good. So just sharing those things about Shakeology. And honestly, like it took me a while. I've been coaching for 13 months now. And I feel like now I'm really gaining like that momentum, I guess. When I put a post about Shakeology or something, I'll have people message me like soon after and say, okay, I think I'm ready to start this. And so I just think that's really important because, we can't expect people to know that what Shakeology is if we're not sharing about it. So we have to be telling them about it. And it's honestly much easier to do it in a post than like a personal message if it's like objections. Telling them about it in a message, that's good, but objections are hard. So I really tried to do that, just being proof of the product because I love the products. And so I want to share those with other people because I want them to feel like I feel. And just leading with love and telling them, trying to get people to see that I'm not trying to sell you something. Like I really love how I feel and I want you to feel how I feel. So that's kind of, and you can't expect people to just jump right in. Like it took me a while to even sell a challenge pack to get people like to trust you because they're kind of nervous about what you're doing. And if you're not sharing about what you're doing, you can't expect people to just hop on board with you because they don't even know what you're doing. So you have to be every day showing what you're doing, and you have to be consistent. You have to show up every single day and talking about what you're doing. And that doesn't mean, obviously, we're not perfect. Maybe we didn't get our workout in that day because something happened, or we ate like crap that day. And that's okay to share that because people want to see that we're real too and want to know that, like, oh, okay, she's not like this, like walking beach buddy robot. She's a real person too. So yeah, there's just people watching you, whether you think it or not. Me and Chantel always talk about this, but you'll get like a few likes on your post and think, oh wow, you spent a lot of time on that post and I don't think anyone even saw it. And then people will message you or you'll be talking to them a few weeks later and they're like, oh, that one post was amazing. And you're like, oh, I didn't know you even saw my post or I didn't know you were following me. So people are watching you. So make sure you're showing up and make sure you be in your pictures because they want to see you and they want to get to know you. So yeah, that's all I have. Sorry, I kind of talk fast. Chantel, your turn.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole.
We're
And
going to do questions at the end.
Oh, did you want to do questions?
do you want to do
Sorry.
questions? Let's do questions. We can ask, well, what do you think? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's do questions at the end. Perfect. Those of you who watch Nicole or follow Nicole, you know that what she's talking about tonight, what she's sharing, she truly does live it. And she really is a great example of being proof of the product. And as you watch her, you can see in her posts that what she's sharing, she believes in. She's not just making stuff up. So she's pretty incredible. So thank you, Nicole. Tonight, what I have planned to share with you guys is about mindset. And of course, that comes in with the personal development side. So we're we're talking about another vital behavior, but we got to get rid of saying, I almost said 3 vital behaviors, but we got to get used to saying the 4 vital behaviors now. So mindset is something that has really, really been on my mind, really probably since I've been coaching, but especially lately. It's kind of all I think of, well, not all I think about, but I think about it a lot. So to start this, I just want to read a little story to you. And maybe some of you guys have heard it before, but just bear with me while I read this to you. So it says, as my friend was passing by some elephants, he suddenly stopped, confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope tied to their front leg. No chains, no cages. It was obvious that the elephants could at any time break away from the ropes they were tied to, but for some reason they did not. My friend saw a trainer nearby and asked why these beautiful, magnificent animals just stood there and made no attempt to get away. Well, he said, when they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size of rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. My friend was amazed. These animals could at any time break free from their bonds, but because they believed they couldn't, they were stuck right where they were. Like elephants, how many of us go through life hanging on to a belief that we cannot do something simply because we failed at it once before? How many of us are being held back by old, outdated beliefs that no longer serve us? How many of us have avoided trying something new because of a limiting belief? Worse, how many of us are being held back by someone else's limiting beliefs? So I just wanted to start off talking tonight with that story. I hope you can picture a huge elephant with this little teeny rope attached to its leg. And, you know, if you came across that same thing, you'd be like, so why is that animal just holding still? But it's so powerful how as young baby elephants, that's what they were taught. And that is what has stuck with them. And I want to talk just a minute about that, what it talked about being held back. This is something I've really been thinking about lately. And, some people have things that maybe have happened to them that have been kind of traumatic in their life. They deal with sickness or maybe something big that has happened that they can contribute to maybe some struggles that they deal with. Now, we all have struggles. We all have trials. We all fight our own battles for sure. But I've really been thinking about this, and I'm like, what is it that held me back? What held me back for so long, not really feeling like I could do things? And it's not that I couldn't, and I really was a pretty outgoing person, shy a little bit in some ways. But when good things happened, literally I was shocked. Like, wow, I didn't think something that would happen to me, And even my mom will ask me, she's like, I just don't get it. I don't understand, especially as I talk about it more. She's like, I don't understand why you didn't believe that you could do these things, And I'm like, I don't know. So I've been thinking about this a lot. And I'm like, what? Why? Why was this not it? It's not like I had a traumatic event. It's not like, I don't know. It just nothing huge. But as I've really been learning over the last year, and something that really hit me actually the other day, and I wrote a post about this, so some of you may have already read it. But what it all boiled down to was my mindset. It was my belief about me and my abilities. And I thought, how the heck could that hold me back for so long? Guys, I wanted to run a marathon since I was 20 years old. And guess how old I was before I ever did it? Actually, I don't know for sure how old I was. Maybe 30, 31? I can't remember. But for 10 years or so, I talked about running this marathon. But I literally did not believe that I could do it, and I didn't. And then finally, when I did it, those of you who talk, that you've heard me talk about this before, I kind of talk about that a lot because it was a changing point in my life. It was something that seemed so huge to me and so out of reach that I never believed that I could do. And so when I did it, and I did it well, it totally changed the way that I viewed things of oh my gosh, like it's not just lucky people that do great things, or it's not just like a certain few who are blessed with like certain talents that can achieve things. So that is, and I've known, a lot about mindset since I started coaching and the personal development side of it, but it was something that really hit me, that was what held me back. And even still, there's things that, that still hold me back when it comes to my mindset. But it was just kind of an awakening of like, wow, our mind has so much power over what we do and what we don't do. And that's kind of why I want to focus on that tonight and share a few things with you guys. Our mind is just like a muscle. There really isn't any difference between strengthening our minds as it would be strengthening our bodies to do push-ups, for example. As we all know, if you've never done push-ups before and you get down to do a push-up, now unless you're like super strong or you're like a man, a lot of men can do this, but for me, I wouldn't be able to just get down and do a push-up on my toes. But I know, just like the rest of you guys know, if all of a sudden you committed to it, you were like, I'm going to practice push-ups every single day and I'm going to modify them. I'm going to get down on my knees. And if all I can do is one, then tomorrow I'm going to show up, I'm going to do one, and I'm going to try to do two. And we know that if we kept working at it every day, what would happen at the end? Or within time, we'd be strong enough to do a push-up, right? The same is with our mind. It's the same thing. It's a muscle. It's like a muscle. As we strengthen it, as we're consistent in building it, we are going to get stronger. And really, when you come to mindset, it's like, okay, what does it mean to have a strong mindset? How do I know that I have a strong mindset? First of all, I want to do a little disclaimer here. I don't know if we ever fully arrive, but I definitely know that we can progress and there's different things that we can conquer. And as soon as we conquer it, the next thing's going to come for us to conquer. But I really believe that we can strengthen our mindset and become more successful and really be able to handle things that are thrown at us in a better way. And I think the main key to mastering our mindset is to think about our thinking. Think about your thinking. That's going to be our main theme tonight. It's so easy to just think, to react, to just instantly just react, basically. But when we stop and we think about our thinking and we pay attention to what it is that what's getting thrown at us and how we're going to react, we can start to take over our mindset and start to have control as far as how we are going to react. Okay, I want you to take a look at yourself. And I want you to think, what is the first thing you do in the morning? Very first thing, your alarm goes off. What do you do? Do you have something in your mind? Okay, is it positive or is it negative? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have a horrible habit. My phone goes off. I grab it and I so often go straight to Facebook. Usually I'm I don't even know how long, 15 minutes late getting down to my basement because I sit and scroll and I'm really trying to get out of the habit of it. But I don't think that's the most positive thing. Maybe I'll wake up to a positive thing, but it's not. There's way more positive things that I've been doing or that I could do, and I'm going to work on this. But your thought, you know what you do first thing when you wake up in the morning, decide, is it a positive thing or is it negative? And the reason why I ask is because, as most of you guys know this, you probably read books about this. This isn't anything new, I'm telling you. But that first thing, the first things that we do in the morning are powerful. They start our day off. I'm in the middle of reading or listening to The Miracle Morning, and holy cow, like I said, that's one of the things that has gotten me committed to no more scrolling. There's certain things I'm going to do before that even opens up. And it's powerful. And I am excited to really be able to benefit from these things that I'm learning. If you think, or if you know that first thing you do in the morning, the second you wake up, is not a positive thing, I want you to think right now of what you can do starting tomorrow morning when you wake up that you can do that is positive. I want you to give yourself a reality check and just really see. Ask yourself, how am I starting off my day? Because guess what? When it comes to your mindset, when it comes to think about your thinking, when it comes to having power over this part of your life, you are the only one that can change it. Nobody else. It's all up to you, which is kind of scary, but it's also kind of an awesome thing to think, you know what? I can be whoever I want to be in my mind. Nobody else has control of that. It is all up to you. I don't want to, we've touched, I think the last call I did, this was my topic, but focusing on what you can control. I think that's, in fact, I know that is a huge part of having a healthy mindset. When you get, and this is it, everything I'm talking about, I know takes practice, and I know it's, sometimes we're going to do great and sometimes we might not do so great, and that's okay. But we all know of the things that we can control, and there are going to be things that are out of our control, and we can't focus on those things. And when we do, it's pulling us in that negative direction. We don't want our minds to spend much time in that negative place. In fact, that's our goal, is to pull our minds out as much as we can out of that spot. The reality of it is crap happens. It really does, unfortunately. We all know it. It's part of life. It just is going to. We know that people are going to tell us no. Even if you have a relationship built with them, you might have a relationship built with somebody and they decide to go be a coach under somebody else. It's happened probably to most of us here. You're going to have coaches that quit. You're going to drop rank. Sometimes you get a negative paycheck. Things happen in life. And it's just the reality. These things they're going to happen. And I truly believe our struggles, some of these things that we go through, they are building us. They're building our story. I remember Brigida said something once in a post to somebody that was talking about something kind of horrible that happened, something probably along the lines of family members being jerks about them being coaches or something. And she said, this is part of your story. This is your story. You're going to share on a national wake-up call one day. And I've thought about that a lot. When something happens, like, these things that we mentioned and other things, that comes into my mind. I'm like, gosh, dang it, that really stinks. But this is going to be a part of my story, and I'm going to share this on a national wake-up call one day. As part of my story and part of what got me the strength and made me become who I needed to become to be this type of leader. So think of that. Even though it's crappy, look at that and think, what can I learn from this? I know that I wish that I had control. I wish I wouldn't have dropped rank. I wish this coach wouldn't have quit. I wish this coach would have signed up with me. But what can I learn from this? Because there's always an opportunity for growth. There's always somewhere. There's always something to learn. When these things happen, this is where you think about your thinking. How am I going to respond to this? This sucks, but how am I going to respond to this? I have total control over this. How are you going to handle the obstacles that are thrown on you? Now, the reality of it is, if you have not conditioned your mind, there's things that really can derail us. Now, we're all going to get knocked down. That's the reality. It doesn't mean that just because we have a healthy mindset means that we're on cloud nine all the time, we're never down. It's going to happen for sure. We're going to feel, we're going to hurt, we're going to be sad, we're going to be disappointed. But it's how we respond to it and get back up. Are you going to throw the towel in because it's been a rough little bit? Or are you going to say, okay, how am I going to grow? How am I going to pick back up and keep going? That's where the healthy mindset is. I want us all to get rid of the word fail. Now, I know we talk about failing forward and whatnot, which is a good thing, but what if we replaced fail with stumble? If all of a sudden you look at it like I didn't fail in that challenge group. Could have done it better. I stumbled for sure. But doesn't that seem less scary than failing? Because I don't know about you, but I've stumbled a lot and I've fallen flat on my face before running. But I've stumbled more than that. And I would much rather stumble than fall and fail. And really, the only time you fail is if you give up. If your challenge group fell apart, if you kind of screwed up an invite and you're like, dang, I could have done that better. You didn't fail. You just stumbled. And you're going to go, okay, I stumbled over that little rock and I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep running. Now, it seems so easy, right? Like all of this sounds like, awesome. I can have a great mindset. It sounds simple. Why don't we all have a great mindset? Why don't I have a great mindset? The reality of it is, it does take major brain power. We all know this, right? It's a little bit easier said than done. But it's possible. It's one of those things. Now, the compound effect for me is sort of the foundation of all, when I think about things, and this, the compound effect really is like a foundation of personal development to me. And it's something I go back to with so many things in my life. And personal development is one of those things, just like the compound effect talks about, that is so easy to do, but so easy not to do. When I started off as a new coach, I didn't understand what personal development really meant. In fact, when Breezy sent me the compound effect, sorry, Breezy, I'm embarrassed to admit this to you. It sat on my shelf. You see those books up there? It sat there for quite a few months because I saw the cover and I was like, what the heck? What is this? My brain wasn't ready for this. And then I picked it up because I kind of was listening to some podcasts. I dabbled in it a little bit. I didn't understand, but I knew that personal development was a huge thing. I'd heard early on that the difference between coaches who started out successful and stayed successful, or coaches that lasted and ended up successful, the breaking factor, which side they would go on, would be personal development. And that stuck with me. The personal development, just like the compound effect talks about, easy to do, easy not to do, but it's a penny a day thing. Every little penny of information that you put into your brain of things that you can turn around and use and act on is going to compound. And I think maybe that's why lately the wheels on my brain have just been running about this mindset thing. And it could be for about a year now, I have been pretty faithful about my personal development. So what does the compound talk about? So maybe for months, I was learning some things for sure, but guess what's happened? After a year, that penny a day has turned into what I feel like a lot of knowledge. I'm on my way to a healthier mindset. If you haven't read The Compound Effect, do it. Like I said, I think that is sort of the foundation of it all. I can't even tell you how many things I think about in my life that I'm like, it's so easy to go, does it really matter if I do that? Little things. Does it matter if I go tuck my daughter into bed tonight? Does it matter if I really miss a workout today? Does it matter? That doesn't mean I always follow through on these things, but it enters my mind that I think every little bit adds up to something big. It's the little things. And I think the biggest thing that personal development has taught me and coaching has taught me over the last year is I always thought, like I said, it was like the lucky ones, the few that were like really talented, that were successful, that big things happened to, that were able to achieve their dreams. That's really what I thought. But what I've learned is that is not true. Success truly comes by the small, consistent things. And that is the reality. If you're looking for something huge and big to do to find success, maybe there's some people out there that have, but I don't know very many of them because they've done the small, consistent things. So to kind of wrap up, let's talk about this. So what can you do? Maybe you're sitting here thinking like, I try. And there are days that you're like, dude, I got this. I've got a strong mind. I can do this. And then the next day you kind of fall apart. But that's okay, because you get back up the next day and you give it a go again. But what can we do? What can you do to strengthen your mindset? Number one thing is remember, me, we are forever students of personal development. Don't ever feel like you're going to get to the point that there's nothing else to learn, because there is. There's going to be something that we still can learn more about. I really think it's like a spiral staircase. I think so much of life is like, have you ever been like, I faced this before and I thought I got over it, but now I guess I'm at a higher level. You're just at a different level of learning. Just picture yourself, tell yourself right now that you're never going to stop learning and growing. You're a forever personal development student. It's just the reality. Number 2, take away self-limitations. Think of something. Do you have something in your mind that you think, I could never do that? There might be something in there. I have things. Find one thing. And I want you to think about that tonight and write it down. One thing that you think, I could never do that. And I want you to write it down, and I want to challenge you to go for it. And the next month, go for that one thing. If it's kind of a smaller thing, go for it tomorrow. Maybe, if you're scared to death to make a video and share your story, that's something that freaks the heck out of you, write it down. And I challenge you to do it. You want to run a race, go sign up for that race and train for it. There's someone you've been wanting to invite and you're scared to invite that person. Invite them. They keep coming back to your mind. Invite them. Whatever it is, think of something that in your mind you think, I could never do that. Empower yourself. Find that thing, empower yourself, and do it. I really, really am challenging you, each one of you, because when we do hard things, I think that is another key thing that comes with our mind. When we do hard things, our mind grows, our confidence grows. We recognize a power in ourselves that we really didn't know was there. But when you push yourself, you're going to be like, holy smokes, I didn't even think I could do that. And I just did this. And all of a sudden you're going to go, well, if I did that, then I can do this. And you're going to move to the next big thing. Number 3, take responsibility. Take your own responsibility of your own personal development to learn these tools. Picture your personal development, because our personal development is nothing physical, right? It's who we become. It's who we are. Picture this as an invisible tool belt that you take with you everywhere you go. And every time something's thrown at you in life, whatever it is, think, do I have the tools to handle this? Pull out that tool that you need to be able to handle what was just thrown at you. Picture this. It is an invisible tool belt. It's something you take with you all the time. I'm so sorry. I got to get a drink. My throat is so dry. I apologize. 2 more things. Routine. A routine having with your personal development. Like I said, I've been listening to Miracle Morning, and I kind of think this book is really powerful. And it talks about having a routine in the morning and how powerful it can be. And I don't know, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it, because it talks about like 6 things that you should do every morning that fit with your life. But when you have a routine, stick to, or find a routine that you can stick to. One thing I've read a lot about is right before bed. Holy cow. Sorry. Think positively. I keep reading that the last thing you think about at night is the first thing that comes to your mind in the morning. So if you go to bed thinking, gosh, dang it, I failed again. I ate all those cookies. Why did I do that? Or, gosh, I really wasn't that great of a mom today. Or, God, I really could have done better. We're always trying to improve, for sure. But do not let your last thought before you go to bed be negative, because the chances of you waking up the next morning with a negative mindset are really super high. So if you go to bed, there's times I go to bed disappointed. There's times I go to bed sad, and I'm learning, okay, I'm sad about this, but what's something positive? And really try to think about that, because it will start your next morning off positive. Make a list of the 5 most important things that you need to do the next day. Make it the night before. And really, really think about this. When you wake up, what are you filling your mind with? What is it that you're doing? Very first thing. And practice good thinking. This takes practice, guys. I wish I could say that I was perfect at this. I'm more not perfect than I am. But it just takes practice. And as we practice it, and as if you react bad, think, okay, I'm going to do this better next time. I really am. Practice good thinking. And the last thing is I want you to picture how you talk to others. Can you imagine if your child comes up to you and they're like, I just can't do this. I'm not very good at it. What would you say to them? Would you be like, yeah, you're right. Like, you really aren't very fast and you really can't hit the ball that well. So just watch. Never would we. We'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, you get up there, you're like the best hitter and you are such a good runner. Now I want you to go out there and I want you to run as fast as you can and you get up to that plate and you watch that ball and you give it all you've got. But do we talk to ourselves like that when that thought comes into our mind is like, there is no way I could ever do that. Or, gosh, I wish I could be like her. She's really got it figured out. If I only had that. Do we step in and be a cheerleader like we would to one of our kids or our friends or our spouse or whoever? If we're not, now this is a practice thing, but I want you to do that. Picture, if that thought that comes into your mind was somebody else, if that was your best friend saying that to you, what would you say to them? Say that exact thing to yourself and be your best cheerleader. Talk to yourself how you would talk to other people that you would be there to cheer on. As I've thought about this so much, I think about, and I'm sure that you guys all see this as we run our challenge groups. And the biggest thing is, I think about this and we see people that fall, and we do this in our own way too. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, sorry, screaming 2-year-old. And it's one of those things that you can, I know that we do things like this to ourselves when we fall. We ate like crap today. We forgot to exercise. It was a bad week, whatever. It's like one of those things when you get these messages, don't you feel that for them? Like, gosh, it's okay. And you want so badly to be like, you can do this. Make it up in your mind that if you fall, you're going to get back up. And when it comes to a healthy mindset and really having a conditioned mind, I think a lot of that is key, is being able to pick yourself back up when you fall. Don't stay down. We're going to stumble. It's the reality. Like I said earlier, sorry, this probably isn't the nicest way to say it, but crap happens. It really does. And that's okay. And that's how we grow and that's how we learn. And as we condition our minds and really, embed yourself every day in personal development. Before I knew about it, I kind of thought it sounded a little kooky, but I'm so glad that I kind of got over that. I did get over that. And I love it. I look for opportunities. In fact, I finally just signed up for Audible because I'm so tired of not having an opportunity in the day to read, except at night. And I last about 30 seconds before my eyes are rolling in the back of my head. But I love it. And it's like, I'm sure you guys feel like this too. It's like your body is like craving it, your mind, because you know that there's a better way to handle things and there's a better way to think. So I challenge you. I really want to know if you guys do these. Write the hard thing down. Talk to yourself like you would your best friend. And I've talked for a long time, so I will end with that. Sorry, I guess I was kind of leading the call, so I shouldn't just shut it off. Let's turn it over for questions. I know it's getting kind of late, but we'll give you some time if you have any questions or anything. Thanks for listening.
Well, question. Chantel, besides Compound Effect, is there any other PD books that you recommend? Miracle Morning, yes, I have that one on Audible, but is there any others that you recommend for mindset?
Yes, I think The Gifts of Imperfection is huge. I think that's something that is a big, for me at least, holds me back. Like, I got it. If I'm not going to do this, if I can't be perfect at it. And that was totally a mind shift for me. The Slight Edge is really similar to The Compound Effect, but I love that one too. Anything by Brene Brown. Eat That Frog was a big thing for me. I'm sure I'll think of more in just a minute. But those were some big ones for me.
Thank you. And then I do have one question for Nicole. Okay, so you have had great response from being proof. And of course, your transformation is amazing. Mm-hmm. And so how do you go about with recruiting, specifically for building coaches, business building coaches? Do you focus on more like call to action posts, or what is your simple strategy? I should have.
Well, I can't really say because I'm not very good at that. That's one thing that I'm trying to work on, because we're just barely getting a what is coaching group put together right now.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good at the whole challenge group thing, but I need to start getting coaches.
Well, just with that coaching group you have coming up, have you put out any call to action posts, or have you invited in messaging? Like how?
I have a couple just kind of sharing about, same thing, like what I'm doing. Like, I get to work out for, and share what I'm doing with other people. So just post in my post, kind of.
Just like
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. You're just weaving it into your posts. It's your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So I thought of one more book. I knew I would. The Go Giver is like one of the best books. I sat down and read it in a whole afternoon, and I'm not much of a reader. I just laid on my couch and read it while my kids, like, who knows, did what around me. But that's one of my favorites too. Okay, anybody else have anything to say or add?
I just want to say thank you guys. That was awesome. You guys did so great. And I just have to compliment both of you, because you're at different stages in your business. You have completely different lives, different things going on, but you just kind of show that you can be successful if you apply the basics, no matter what situation you're in. I mean, it's been really fun watching both of you grow, and I'm excited to see both of you at Summit. And those of you that are going to Summit, you'll get to meet the beautiful Chantel and Nicole. So thank you for doing this tonight, ladies. I really appreciate it.
Hey guys, I have a quick question. So I was doing 22-minute hardcore. Who wrote notes that they can take a picture of them and send it to me?
I can send you
notes.
I can send you my notes from what I had written down, so I wouldn't forget what I was going to say.
Jen, it's recorded too. You can rewatch the recording. All these are recorded, and we post the recordings.